switching lesson in blues. Switching to the regulation. Giovanna.
Lord Balram appearance. Kansa, uncontrolled senses and untrustful. We would like to thank we would like to thank all of you for kindly coming and giving us your association on this auspicious evening. This evening we are celebrating the appearance of Lord Sri Balram. It is a most important event because without properly understanding the mercy of Lord Balram and understanding how to acquire his causeless mercy, it is most difficult to follow the path of true bhakti. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes on that fateful evening of the wedding ceremony of Vasudeva and Devaki on the chariot, as Kansa, the brother of Devaki, was driving her to Vasudeva's place. At that time, a resounding and ominous voice appeared in the sky. Kansa, you are a fool. You are taking such nice care of your sister without knowing that the eighth child, the eighth son of your sister Devaki, will be the cause of your death. He became very much disturbed. When one considers oneself to be this material body, which is fundamental illusion of all bondage and suffering within this material existence, then one performs even most abominable, atrocious activities simply to protect the sense gratification of his dying body. Out of fear, Kamsa took the hair of Devaki, took his sword, and was about to sever her head from her body. This is the nature of a person who is too much controlled by the senses. You can never trust them, even if they appear to be your best, well wishing, loving friend. Doing so many favors for you. If you interfere in their intelligence, in their sense gratification, they can turn against you and be your worst enemy. Kansa was acting like such a loving brother. Can you imagine that gesture? He was such a powerful king. He had so many servants, so many charioteers, but out of love for his sister, at least physical love for his sister, he was willing to take the position of her charioteer, which is actually quite a menial service, just to please her, just to make her feel much comforted when going to to a strange place like her husband's home. So at one moment, he was going out of his way to show his love
I'm giving you one.
and respect. But as soon as he found out that his sister was a threat to his sense enjoyment, at the next moment he was ready to ruthlessly, cold heartedly kill her. This is material life. Therefore, Shastra says we cannot trust any someone whose senses are always controlled by being engaged in the loving service of the Lord. Besides such devotees, we really never know who is our friend and who is our enemy and who is superficially appearing to be a friend. So, new heading. Vasudev, man of virtue, die but don't break your vows. So Vasudev,
Yes, that will be
Even
the
talent to Prabhupada. Talent to Prabhupada.
yes, that will be.
so Vasudev, with so many arguments, tried to convince Kansa to stop. But Kansa, because he was so infuriated with fear, he could not hear philosophy. But he was able to hear negotiation. What was the negotiation? I will give you all the children. You have nothing to fear from your sister. But the children, I will give them all to you. You can do whatever you like with them. And Vasudev was such a man of honor that he kept his promise as painful as it was. Such a man of virtue in this day and age. Although it is explained in the Kali Yuga of the four legs of religiosity, truthfulness is only one that really is surviving at all. Even truthfulness is dwindling so much that people would turn away from their word so quickly, so whimsically, without even thinking twice if it is convenient. But amongst civilized people, when you give your word, you should die before you dig. When you make a vow, you should die before you break. There is more dignity in death striving than going on living without maintaining the very honor of your life. Nowadays, people take vow before their spiritual master, and if it becomes difficult, I will no longer keep this vow. If they meet somebody, they are a little more inspired by, oh, I like them better. This is uncivilized consciousness. If we actually want to attract the heart of Krishna, we have to live by our vows, live by our words. And Vasudev was such an extreme example of this. When the first child was born, Vasudev brought the child to Kansa. Here is yours, Kansa. You are such an honest person. I have nothing to fear from this child. It is the eighth child. You can take him. But due to that, when Vasudev was walking away with the child, he already had experience of Kansa. 1 minute he is so nice to Devaki, and next second he is ready to kill her. He was thinking, you cannot trust anybody who doesn't control their mind and senses. He may be saying nice things now, but what he will do tomorrow? Question mark. And sure enough, due to evil association, then very shortly after that, he killed the child and imprisoned Vasudev and Devaki. And in that prison, 6 children were born consequently. And each one Kansa would brutally, cold bloodedly murder right before their eyes. Lord Balram appearance, original servitor. Next heading. But the 7th child was a divine incarnation, the very first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sankarshan, appeared within the womb of Devaki. How brilliant and effulgent she was, and how joyful he was. She could understand that divinity has entered into my womb. At that time, Lord Shri Krishna, he called upon his Yogmaya potency and he instructed her that I want you to transfer this beautiful child who is none other than Balram, my original expansion, the first of all incarnations of Godhead, to the womb of Rohini from the womb of Devaki. See, Vasudev had several wives, 2 of which were Devaki and Rohini. Now, at the time when Kansa was persecuting so much Vasudev and Devaki and put them in the prison, Vasudev entrusted his wife Rohini to live in the cowherd village of his dearmost friend Nand Maharaj. So she was living in Gokul along with Nanda and Yashoda and under the protection of Vrajvasi. She was living a very, very happy life. So this child was transferred to her womb. And it was on the full moon night of the month of Shravan that the beautiful child was born, Shri Balram. When we speak of Vishnu Tattva, Balram's presence is most important. It is described in the Bhagavad, in the Brahma Samhita, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, that Krishna is the original form of the Absolute Truth. Govindam Adi Purusham Tama Aham Bhajami. He is Adi Purush, the original person. Now, when Krishna in the spiritual world of Golok Vrindavan, when he wants to enjoy transcendental Leela, first he expands himself into Vaibhav Prakash as Baldev. Baldev is the original servitor of God. He is Krishna himself that appears to serve Krishna. And how does he appear to serve Krishna? Next heading. Balramji serving in 5 rasas. Balram is unique. There is no other personality like him because Shri Balaji, Balramji, he takes part in all 5 rasas intimately with Shri Krishna. As Santarasa, it is Balramji who expends through his energy to create Golok Vrindavan. The spiritual world of Golok is expansion of the energy of Balram, a land which is and all of the surrounding simply offering most sweet and loving service to the Lord. Balram also expends himself through his energy as Krishna's crown, as Krishna's flute, as Krishna's slippers, as Krishna's clothes, as all of Krishna's ornaments. It is all Balram himself, just appearing in these most wonderful forms, just to give pleasure and service to Sri Krishna, and to assist him in attracting the hearts of all living beings by his beautiful decorated forms. You see, Krishna is all attractive. The supreme pleasure of Lord Krishna is to attract everyone's heart. So when Balram appears as the most beautiful crown, the most beautiful flute, the most beautiful jewels, and the most beautiful lightning golden colored dhoti, he assists Krishna by decorating his body in such a way that his attraction becomes even more attractive, to attract the hearts of all. So this is how Balramji appears in the Sankaras. As far as Dasyaras, whatever Balram does in his mood of menial servant, simply trying to please Krishna, his brother, as Sakyaras, he appears as Krishna's friend. They wrestle together, they play together, they dance together, they herd the cows together, they argue together, they fight together. Why? All in the mood of just giving pleasure to Krishna, just to supply service to the Lord. And because Balramji is Krishna's elder brother, he is also in the Vatsalya Ras relationship. Because as elder brother, sometimes he takes position of Krishna, it's late, go home. It's time to wake up. Krishna, Gopal, today is your birthday. You cannot go out and play. You must stay at home. Sometimes in the forest, he would, when there is danger, he would be very protective, like a parent to Sri Krishna. Because that is the way an elder brother is supposed to be. In the Madhurya Ras, conjugal love, you see Balram cannot directly take part in the Leela with Krishna because it's embarrassing when Krishna is dancing with the gopis. For the elder brother to be there, who is kind of like a parent, Balram doesn't want to create uncomfortable situations, so he spends himself into Ananga Banjari. How clever Balramji is, because Radha and Krishna, their relationship is the summit, the peak, the ultimate in loving reciprocation in Madhurya Ras. And because so many secret rendezvous between Radha and Krishna take place, Radharani is very much afraid of Balram. And out of great respect, Balram is very much afraid of Radharani because he knows what her relationship is with Krishna. So, they more or less have their separate leela in so many ways. But still, Balram wants to assist the love affairs of Radha and Krishna. So he appears as Anang Manjari, who happens to be Radharani's younger sister. And he lives in the same house as her. And he is actually most intimate, confidential sister associate of Radharani. And he is constantly playing with Radharani and making all wonderful arrangements for her to meet with Krishna. So in that way, Balram, he provides service to Krishna in all 5 primary rasas. And he is purely unique in this manner. Next head. Balram is the source of all incarnations. And it is explained, this is happening in Golok Vrindavan, when for the purpose of creation from Krishna, he first expands as Balram. From Balram, is the expansion of Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna and Vasudeva. From that, Chaturvyu is expansion of Narayan, the Lord of Vaikuntha. From that expansion is expanded to secondary Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva and Sankarshan. From that Sankarshan is incarnated Adi Shankar, who is the original Lord Shiva. Actually, systematically, we can understand Vaishnava Nama Yatha Shambho. That Shiva is the greatest, the supreme most of all Vaishnavas. Why? Because he is an expansion of original spiritual master Balaram. Now that same Sankarshan also expands himself when it's time for creation as Karnadakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu, the planets emanates from his body. The universes, he enters into the universes as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then he enters into the heart of every living being as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And all the various incarnations that come in this world, Matsyavatar, Varaha Avatar, Narsingha Avatar, Vamana Avatar, Ram Avatar, they are all incarnations of that Kshirodakshaya. So, in this way, we can understand that Balram is the source of all incarnations. But he is always in the mood of servitor. Because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the mood of servitor, he is considered to be original spiritual master. Next heading, Krishna's flute. In Golok Vrindavan, we always see in the picture, Krishna always holds his flute. Balramji always holds plow. This is very significant also. Why does Krishna carry his flute? To simply attract and charm the hearts of all living beings, so to his loving service. Balramji's plows the earth as Guru plows our heart. Why is and why Balramji carries a plow? What do we do with the plow? We clear the road, right? We prepare the field so that seed will grow. Either use of plow or the purpose in agriculture, or even to make roads to clear the obstacles. So, as the original spiritual master, Balramji is personified with his plow for the purpose of, first of all, the Guru plows through the heart. His words are like plow to make our hearts nice and soft, that the seed of devotion can grow and be attracted to the sweet sound of Krishna's flute. Now, we must understand. Sorry.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I spoke to Adi Dev and I think we are not going as per yesterday. We are not going that. Krishna was there. Krishna.
यहाँ पर है वे हाउस
So wherever they piece of paper,
कहाँ से शुरू से लिखो ना
no, I tell the story that it's all our stories.
When Balram and Krishna were thus
स्टोरी का तो क्या तो
the killing of Denuka. When Balram and Krishna were thus petitioned by their intimate friends, they were
Gurma, should we read from where we left off yesterday? Because yesterday we did Yamata Sutra, Lama Sutra. From the yeah. But there's many stories Gurma.
Anybody this?
When Balaram and Krishna were thus petitioned by their intimate friends, they were inclined to please them, and with smiling faces, they proceeded toward the forest, surrounded by all their friends. Immediately upon entering their tower, Balaram began to yank the trees with his arms, exhibiting the strength of an elephant. Because of this jerking, all the ripe fruits fell down on the ground. Upon hearing the sound of the falling fruits, the demon Dhanikasur, who was living there in the form of an ash, approached with a great force, shaking the whole field so that all the trees moved as if there were an earthquake. The demon appeared before Balaram and kicked his chest with his hind legs. At first Balaram did not say anything, but with great anger the demon kicked him again more vehemently. This time Balaram immediately caught hold of the legs of the ash with one hand and, wheeling him around, threw him into the treetops. While he was being wheeled around by Balaram, the demon lost his life. Balaram threw the demon into the biggest palm tree about, and the demon's body was so heavy that the palm tree fell upon other trees, and several fell down. It appeared as if a great hurricane was passing through the forest, and all the trees were falling down, one after another. This exhibition of the extraordinary strength is not astonished because Balaram is the personality of Godhead known as Anantaseshanam, who is holding all the planets in the pool of his millions of heads. He maintains the whole cosmic manifestation exactly as horizontal and vertical thread hold the giving of the cloth. After demon had been thrown into trees, all the friends and associates of the Dhanukasu immediately assembled and attacked Balaram and Krishna with a great force. They are determined to retaliate and avenge the death of their friend. But Krishna and Balaram caught each of these asses by the hind legs and exactly the same way wheeled them around. Thus they killed all of them and threw them into the palm trees. Because of the dead bodies of the asses, there was a panoramic scene. It appeared as if clouds of the various colors were assembled in the trees. Hearing of this great incident, demigods from the higher planetary showered the flowers on Krishna and Balaram and beat the drums and offered devotional prayers. A few days after killing of Dhanukasur, people began to come into the Talavan forest to collect the fruits, and animals began to return without fear to feed on the rice grasses growing there. Just by chanting or hearing these transcendental activities and the pastime of the brothers Krishna and Balaram, one can amaze pious activities. When Krishna and Balaram entered the village of Vrindavan, along with their friends, they played their flutes, and the boys praised their uncommon activities in the forest. Their faces were decorated with the tilak and smeared with the dust raised by the cows, and the Krishna's head was decorated with the peacock feather. Both he and Balaram played their flutes, and the young gopis were joyous to see Krishna returning home. All the gopis in Vrindavan remained very morose on account of Krishna's absence. All day they were thinking of Krishna in the forest or of him herding cows in the pastures. When they saw Krishna returning, all their anxieties were immediately relieved, and they began to look at his face the way the drones hover over the honey of the lotus flower. When Krishna entered the village, the young gopis smiled and laughed. Krishna, while playing the flute, enjoyed the beautiful smiling faces of the gopis. Then Krishna and Balaram were immediately received by the affectionate mothers, Yashoda and Rahina, who, according to the time's demands, began to fulfill the desires of their affectionate sons. Simultaneously, the mothers rendered service and bestowed benediction upon their transcendental sons. They took care of their children by bathing them and dressing them very nicely. Krishna was dressed in yellowish garment, and Balaram was dressed in a bluish garment, and they were given all sorts of ornaments and flower garlands. Being relieved of the fatigue of their day's work in the pasturing ground, they looked refreshed and very beautiful. They were given palatable dishes by their mothers, and they pleasantly ate everything. After eating, they were seated nicely on the clean bedding, and mothers began to sing various songs of their activities. As soon as they lay down on the bedding, they were quickly fast asleep. In this way, Krishna and Balaram used to enjoy Vrindavan's life as father was. Sometimes Krishna used to go with his boyfriends and Balaram, and sometimes he used to go alone with his friend to the bank of the Yamuna and tend the cows. Gradually the summer season arrived, and one day while in the field, the boys and cows became very thirsty and began to drink the water of Yamuna. The river, however, had been made poisonous by the venom of great serpent known as Kainga. Because the water was so poisonous, the boys and cows became visibly affected immediately after drinking. They suddenly fell down on the ground, apparently dead. Then Krishna, who is the life of all the lives, simply cast his merciful glance over them, and all the boys and cows regained consciousness and began to look at the Brahmaniga with a great astonishment. They could understand that by drinking the water of the Yamuna, they had died, and that the merciful glance of Krishna has restored their lives. Thus they appreciated the mystic power of Krishna, who is known as Yogeshwar, the master of all mystic powers. Thus ends Bhaktivedanta chapter of the 15th chapter of Krishna, the feeling of democracy. Chapter number 16, Subdue Kalya.
That was also
Chapter 18, Killing the Demon Kalambasur.
You go ahead and then, okay.
After extinguishing the devastating fire, Krishna was surrounded by his relatives, friends, cows, calves, and bulls, and glorified by his friends singing again entered Vrindavan, which is always full of cows. While Krishna and Balaram were enjoying life in Vrindavan in the midst of the cowherd boys and girls, the season gradually changed to summer. The summer season in India is not very much welcomed by the excess because of excessive heat. But in Vrindavan, everyone was pleased because summer there appeared just like a spring. This was possible only because Lord Krishna and Balaram, who are the controller even of the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, were residing there. In Vrindavan, there are many falls which are always pouring water, and the sound is so sweet that it covers the sound of crickets. And because water flows over, the forest always looks very green and beautiful. Inhabitants of Vrindavan were never disturbed by scorching heat of the sun or the high summer temperatures. The lakes of Vrindavan are surrounded by green grasses and various kinds of lotus flowers. Flowers bloom there, such as the Kahala, Kanja, Utpala, and the air blowing in Vrindavan carries the aromatic pollens of those lotus flowers. When the principle of water, when the particle of water falls from the banks of the Yamuna, the lakes and the waterfalls touch the bodies of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they automatically felt cooling effect. Therefore, they are practically undisturbed by the summer season. Vrindavan is such a nice place. Flowers are always blooming, and there are even various kinds of decorated deer. Birds are chirping, peacocks are crowing and dancing, and bees are humming. The cuckoos, they are singing nicely in 5 kinds of tunes. Krishna, the reserve of pleasure, blowing his flute, accompanied by his elder brother Balaram and other cowherd boys and cows, enter the beautiful forest of Vrindavan to enjoy the atmosphere. They walk into the midst of newly grown leaves of trees whose flowers resemble peacock feathers. They were garlanded by those flowers and decorated with the saffron chalk. Sometimes they were dancing and singing, and sometimes wrestling with another. While Krishna danced, some of the cowherd boys sang and others played on flutes. Some bugle on buffalo horns or clapping their hands, praising Krishna. Dear brother, you are dancing very nicely. Actually, all these boys were demigods, descended from higher planets to assist Krishna and his pastimes. Demigods, God in the face of cowherd boys, were encouraging Krishna in his dancing, just as one artist encourages another with the praise. Up to the time, neither Balaram nor Krishna had undergone the hair-cutting ceremony. Therefore, their hair was clustered like crow's feathers. They were always playing hide and seek with their boyfriends and jumping or fighting with them. Sometimes, while his friends were chanting and dancing, Krishna would praise them. My dear friends, you are dancing and singing very nicely. The boys played at catching ball with the fruits such as dill and amlaka. They played blind man's buff, challenging and touching one another. Sometimes they imitated the forest deer and various kinds of birds. They joked with one another by imitating croaking frogs, and they enjoyed swimming underneath the trees. Sometimes they would play amongst themselves like a king and his subjects. In this way, Balaram and Krishna, along with all their friends, played all kinds of sports and enjoyed the soothing atmosphere of Vrindavan, full of rivers, lakes, rivulets, fine trees, and excellent gardens filled with the fruits and flowers. Once, while the boys were engaged in their transcendental pastime, a great demon of the lake, Valambasura, entered their company, desiring to kidnap both Balaram and Krishna. Although Krishna was playing the part of coward boy, like the supreme personality of Godhead, he could understand everything, past, present, and future. So when Pralambasur entered their company, Krishna began to think how to kill the demon, but externally he received him as a friend. Oh my dear friend, he said, it is very good that you have come to take part in our pastime. Krishna then called all his friends and told them, now we shall play in tags. We shall challenge one another in tags. With this proposal, all the boys assembled together. Some of them took the side of Krishna and some of them took the side of Balaram, and they arranged to play in duel. The defeated members in the duel fighting had to carry the victorious member on their back, as a horse carries its master. They began playing and at the same time tended cows as they proceeded to the Bandirvan forest. Shall I continue or start? The party of Balaram, accompanied by Siddham and Vrishabha, came out victorious, and Krishna's party had to carry them on their backs through the Bandirvan forest. The Supreme Personality God and Krishna, being defeated, had to carry Siddham on his back, and Bhadrasen carried Vrishabha, imitating the play. Valambasur, who appeared there as a coward boy, carried Balaram on his back. Valambasur was the greatest of the demon, and he had calculated that Krishna was the most powerful of the coward boys. In order to avoid the company of Krishna, Pralambasur carried Balaram far away. The demon was undoubtedly very strong and powerful, but he was carrying Balaram, who is compared to the mountain. Therefore, he began to feel the burden, and thus he assumed his real form. When he appeared in his real feature, he was decorated with the golden helmet, earrings, and looked just like a cloud with lightning carrying the moon. Balaram observed the demon's body expanding up to the limits of the clouds, his eyes dazzling like a blazing fire, and his mouth flashing with the serpent teeth. At first, Balaram was surprised by the demon's appearance, and he began to wonder, how is it that all of a sudden this carrier has changed in every way? But with a clear mind, he could quickly understand that he was being carried away from his friends by demon who intended to kill him. Immediately he struck the head of the demon with his strong fist, just as the kings of heavenly planets strike a mountain with his thunderbolt. Stricken by the fist of Balaram, the demon fell down dead, just like a snake with a smashed head, and blood poured out from his mouth. When the demon fell, he made a tremendous sound, and it sounded as if great hail were falling upon, being struck by the thunderbolt of King Indra. All the boys were rushed to the spot. Astonished by the ghastly scene, they began to praise Balram with the word, well done, well done. All of them, they embraced Balram with a great affection, thinking that he had returned from the dead, and they offered their blessings and congratulations. All the demigods in the heavenly planets became very satisfied and showered flowers on the transcendental body of Balram, and they also offered their blessing and congratulations for his having killed the great woman Lambasura. Thus, from Bhaktivedanta Thakur, the 18th chapter of Krishna, killing the demon Lambasura.
Your brain tickets.
Everything is done, Bhagavan.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Narasimhaya,
Dadaine Hiranyakashi Purvakaha Shilakankanakalaye Ito Nasima Palato Nasima Yato Yato Yamitato Nasima Mahi Nasima Hitaye Nasima Narsimhamadim Sharanam Prapade Navakara Kamalabade Namata Adhuta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Ekavadeta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Narasimha Dev Jayo Narasimha Dev Jayo Simha Dev Jayo Narasimha Dev Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva,
Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. स्टेप के पास देख के हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण ठीक है वो नहीं वो लास्ट एक बाकी है
Hats off to you, bro. Hats off.